Morning everyone, welcome to Distance Learning. Today is Tuesday, the 3rd of August 2021, and let's have a really quick look at our schedule for today. Now when you go and you want to get all your activities and resources and schedule for the day, this is the way you do it. First of all, I'm going to click back to Outlook, which is our email that we use. Now, to get to your email, you use your user from school, which is your initial from your first name, and then the first 4 letters of your surname. So mine is WLUT, L-U-E-T, and then there'll be a number. And then all you do is you add to that number at eq.edu.au, and that takes you to your email address. And your password is the same password that you use at school to log onto your computers. Now that'll get you onto Microsoft email. Then what you do is you go up to this button up here, click on that, go to Teams, takes you straight there, and you can see all the other functions that you can get to from that as well, all those other programs and apps. Okay, now down this side of the page, there's all the tabs with everything on it. General will have the schedule for today. When you go into English, it will have the comprehension booklet that we're reading from. Now, when you go and you do use these booklets and resources, make sure you click on this little epsilon button here and you actually download your own copy and you save it. Because if you work straight from here and you make any changes, it's going to change it for everybody. HASS is there as well. There's a booklet there that you can go and download. In homework, you will not only find the Term 3 homework booklet, which we will still be using, but you'll also find the spelling for the week. And here we are, week 4. Magnus Chase's novels have all the tabs for all the novels and a glossary there of terms, and it's also got the guided reading activities. And science we'll get to. Now, I've made a student chatter channel because what is happening is that last night kids were on the general chatter and you were great, speaking really nicely to each other, so I don't have a problem with that. But what happens is the more that you chatter, the more it pushes the information further up and up the page and people have trouble finding it. So if you want to chatter from now on, go to the student chatter channel. I've tried to block off the other channels, so I don't think you'll be able to use them now anyway. Okay, so firstly, to start off, let's have a look at the spelling. Now, I'm not going from Teams and downloading every single time because that is going to take way too long. What we will do first of all is look at the schedule. So on general, quick look at the schedule, and I'll show you how to download this from here. You just click download, and because it's one page, it should come up pretty quickly. So 4 lessons for today, a spelling lesson where we'll just go over, there's a couple of ways you can do your spelling. The second lesson is a comprehension lesson from the novel A Waltz for Matilda, which the whole novel consists of letters going back and forth. The third one's maths with a mental maths, really quick activity today just to get you used to distance learning, and a really quick comparing fractions one. And then the 4th lesson is science to set you up with a mouldy bread experiment and just understand how mold's created and so forth. Okay, if we jump into spelling, you can see that you can either download this document and start filling it out, or you can complete it as we would in class by dividing up your page into the 12, writing your spelling at the top in red and blue, red for vowels and blue for consonants. Now, just to go over that, to make sure everybody remembers what a consonant and a vowel actually is, let's have a quick look at our phoneme chart that we use each day. Okay, and here it is. Yep. Sorry about all this moving around, I'll get used to this. Okay, so 44 phonemes in the English language. There are 24 consonants and 20 vowels. The consonants are where the air is stopped by our lips, teeth, or throat, or tongue, and the vowel is where our mouth opens up when we say the vowel, the air drops out, and that's the actual syllable in the word, where your chin hits your hand. Now, we've been doing this for a while, and as you're sounding the word out, even in your head, you'll go, oh, my mouth dropped open. That's the syllable. So let's go over the words. B, k, ch, d, f, g, j, l, m, n, p, r, s, j, sh, t, th, v, w, y, z. There's our 24 consonants. That's all the consonant sounds in the English language. Make sure you really exercise your mouth and open your mouth up. Now for the 20 vowels. A, e, a, I, ear, I, o, oi, u, ua, or, ow, There's your soft schwa and our strong That's the first vowel in a word. So you can rewind and do that again and have a practice if you're not sure. That's a very valuable thing to do each day. Okay, looking at our spelling words. Okay, now as I said, you can just fill this sheet out and I'll show you how to do it. I sort of started doing it to show you. So acknowledge, let's sound that out. Acknowledge. A, k, n, o, l, e, j. So 7. So you would write you can do it either way. You can fill this sheet out and email it back, or you can rule up your book with the date. Now for all work in your book, make sure you put the whole date in at the start of the day. Tuesday, 3rd of August 2021, and call it spelling. And we would rule up our sheet with 12 boxes, wouldn't we, at school? Then you'd write acknowledge in red and blue. A, k, n, o, l, o, j. J, I should say. Then you would there's one box, one letter, one word, and here it is here. K, that's a consonant. N's a consonant. How's a verb? W, j. So then you count it. A graph is one letter, one sound. 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 graphs. Diagraph is 2 letters, one sound. And there's 1, 2. We've got 3 there. 2. And then a trigraph, 3 letters, one sound, 1. Now you can leave it as that. I'm happy with that. But if you want to do it the same way we do it at school, you then copy the word. Now we're going to get the etymology of the word. We go into Google and hit return. Now this is great because we get a lot of information when we get the full details. We can learn how to pronounce it.
Acknowledge.
There's the IPA underneath if you want to still do that. If you don't worry about it. We'll leave it for when we go back. And we can see that it comes from Middle English and it changed around about the 15th century. If we click this button, it's going to show us when the word came in and how it's changed over time to now. And it's also going to give us all the definitions. It gives us a lot of information. It gives us how the suffixes changes, plural, past tense, and future tense. And then it also gives us similes or similar words, but it gives us a definition, accept or admit the existence of truth. So you can write that in where we would at school. All right, acknowledge and write your definition in and 7 phonemes. Okay, second word is annotated. So we sound that out, annotated. A, n, o, t, a, t, d. And we've got 7. We write it in our box here if we want to do that. Annotated over here, 7. And the A is in red because it's a vowel. N, O, T, A, T, D. or you can fill it into the box here. Oh, this was the third one. Sorry, I missed one. And we can see that it's got a, n, o, t, a, t, d. And it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 graphs, 2 diagraphs. And when we look at that word, and we go into Google, and all you've got to do is keep that screen open and just copy the other word that you're looking at over the top. Annotated.
Annotate.
There's the IPA underneath if you want that. We can see it's a Latin word, as a lot of words are. And then it's come through in the 16th century and been changed to that kind of spelling. Click the arrow, and there we are. We can see the modern changing of the word over time. And it's a verb, and it has all the suffixes up there. Add notes to. And we know from annotations that we do in class that means we highlight and we pull it apart and we write notes all over a paragraph that we're looking at when we're doing cold reads and things like that. So annotated means to add notes to. So you can go on like that. Now, if that's too much for you and you're really struggling with that, then just head up the date, write spelling, and write your spelling words in. And the other words are, I jumped ahead a bit, alphanumeric. And when we sound that out, it's a, u, f, a, n, u, m, e, r, I, k. So that means each box is one sound. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So 11 sounds, and you can write that on your sheet there when you write it in red and blue if you want to do that. But what we can see is it's almost phonetic. It's almost one letter, one sound. But here this f sounds a digraph. The PH is making the f sound. So 10 graphs, 1 digraph, there it is there. And then this one, now this is a good example. Sorry for jumping back. But when we put this in, this just goes to show that for modern words, you're not always going to get the same amount of detail. So, for example, here, it doesn't come up with a lot of detail because this word really came into being around about 1912. And it's a contraction of the two words, alphabet and numeric. So, alphanumeric, which means writing with both alphabet and numbers. So that's been a word that's been invented or created or changed for the use in maths and maybe in HASS when they've talked about certain things. All right, our other words are campaign. Now look out for that AIG. A. We talked about that last week. That's a trigraph. And we talked about how the trigraph J, DGE, and AIG actually is a word, even though it goes back to Latin, that was modified in Latin around those North American kind of countries, which is why that's a very strange sound. Chronological, which means putting in order. Citizen, Commonwealth, Constitution, circa, look that word up, that's to do with history and a set period of time. Continuity, discrimination, experience, and federation. With all these lessons that you do, if you do write them in a notebook, a really good idea is when mum and dad, grandma, or someone goes out, if they can just get you your own notebook if you haven't got one at home, a Spiralex one, make it look really great, keep it in really good order, put your dates on it and your lessons. So when you send that back to me and I put it in your file, it can show how much care you've taken with your work and you'll get extra stars for that. But then you can bring it back at the end of distance learning when we're back together, take that down and show what a great job you've done. Well, that's it for this lesson. The next lesson we'll move on to is comprehension.